Muammar Gadaffi was one of the world's longest-serving heads of state. The money came from oil. $1 trillion by the time he died. 1 billion a week. He believed in aliens and blew up planes.
It's the gold that Lara talked about, it's the oil as well, and getting it to flow once again that is really at the heart of how Libya will continue to exist as a state under new leadership. Tangent Capital's Jim Rickards says there's still a question of who gets the money, and until that's resolved, it's not clear if Libya will be able to even get back into the global oil shipment market. Jim's been involved in some of the biggest financial crises of the last 3 decades. He was the government's negotiator in the rescue of long-term capital management as well. His new book, Currency Wars, will hit the stands in November. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Margaret.
Lara just raised that question of what assets continue to exist inside of Libya.
Right.
That's unclear until we get a good case on the ground. Outside of those borders, what assets does either Gadaffi have or Libya have as a state, and how do we get that access to the new government?
Yeah, good question. There's sort of 2 sets of assets here, so-called soft assets or financial assets on the one hand, and hard assets on the other. The financial assets are deposits in bank accounts. It could be stocks, bonds, a diversified portfolio. Libya had a sovereign wealth fund, not unlike
it was the 11th biggest in the world.
Correct. And so I don't know exactly what their portfolio consists of. Most of them are not that transparent. Norway is extremely transparent. They tell you exactly what they have. Most of them do not, but it's reasonable to expect they had a fairly normal asset allocation, which would be some mix of maybe 40% stocks and 60% bonds, et cetera. Those assets are relatively easy to freeze. They don't exist in a vacuum. They're on account of brokers. They're on account of banks. All those banks and brokers are heavily regulated. The procedures are tried and true. The United States has been freezing assets at least since World War I, since 1917. This is how we got Bayer aspirin. We took it from the Germans in World War I. So we're very good at freezing assets. So I'm sure those assets are frozen. That doesn't mean they go away or they disappear. They're available, but the United States is going to wait until we know who the transitional government is. But on the other side of the ledger, you have hard assets, which are oil and gold. Now, oil, again, has got to go through pipelines. A lot of that infrastructure, some of it at least, has been destroyed. There are a lot of conflicting opinions on how long it'll take to restore that. Some people say weeks and months. Other people say a year. That remains to be seen. But that oil is not going to hit the market anytime soon. It'll be a little while before it comes on stream. The biggest question mark, of course, is the gold. Libya had over 100 tons, which is quite a large amount of gold. I mean, that's about the same as Greece. Ireland has 5 tons. The UK only has about 300 tons. So this is a very large amount of gold for the size of their economy. I don't doubt that Gadaffi was using some of that to pay his generals and his commanders.
Lara was just saying 25 tons.
Right.
That was what the central bank chief said. It seemed Gadaffi was trying to use to finance the military. You're talking about gold inside the central banks, inside of Libya.
Correct. This is physical bullion. These are not, GLDs or gold futures, et cetera. These are actually bars and ingots of gold that Gadaffi took from the central bank vaults. And the question is, where is it? We don't know where Gadaffi is, but we don't know where the gold is either. Now, gold is extremely heavy, so it's not easy to move around, and that is a lot of gold. So it's somewhere, but it's a mystery at this point. But the other problem with gold is it's totally fungible. It's not like a security where it's got a QSIP or an ID number. I can melt down an ingot and recast it, and you have no idea where it came from. So some of that may have been going on as well. So this may be a mystery, though. We may never see it.
Well, we were talking just yesterday to Stuart Levy, formerly of the Treasury Department, now at Council on Foreign Relations. He froze these assets, the $37 billion in the U.S. right now. He says we're going to use part of it for leverage and maybe part of it as a loan or collateral for a loan to the new transitional government. Is that the right way to handle it?
It is, because you don't want to starve the transitional government because that could contribute to their failure. On the other hand, you don't want to hand over all the money because we don't know how much Islamic fundamentalists or Al-Qaeda elements are in here. One of the interesting things about this is, Obama said Mubarak must go when he's gone. He said Gadaffi must go when he's gone. So it looks like major accomplishments for the president from a foreign policy perspective, which they may be. But this is also the agenda of Al-Qaeda. They've wanted to get rid of these wars for a long time. So it's unclear who's really going to come out on top here. And even in Egypt, we have elections in November, but the Muslim Brotherhood is likely to be the dominant party. So we have some uncertain outcomes. So you don't want to hand it all over because you could be going straight to Al-Qaeda.
And that's why he says they want to have some leverage there. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you.